Hello, you amazing healers. So, the topic of wealth and abundance mindset is a really common one, and you'll hear a lot about it. But what I want to talk about today relates to that, but it is all about how to clear up those internal blocks. And I'll talk about what blocks are, how to clear up all those internal blocks that prevent that. Because people that live in the energetic world, or meaning that they're sensitive to it, they usually have something going on in them that prevents them from inviting wealth into their life. So I'm going to talk more in the next series of videos and podcasts and so on. I'm going to talk more about how to clear that up and what those blocks really are. Okay, stay tuned to hear more. Thank you so much for coming back. This is Anastasia. I used to be a physics professor specializing in vibrational and quantum physics. After recovering from a serious illness using energy healing on myself, the calling to heal became so strong that I had to quit my 40-year research career. I replaced my 6-figure professor salary within 5 months using a simple but not easy 3-step system that I worked out to grow my healing practice. Now I help other healers grow their practices, whether they're just starting or already have a practice, with this same 3-step system. I'm all about helping you too. Listen in to learn more. So the whole idea of money mindset, wealth, abundance mindset is thinking, it basically is that wealth isn't a zero-sum game. In other words, that there's plenty for everyone to go around, that everyone will have wealth. But you can think that and you can feel that, but yet there's something blocking you internally. So when you have one of these internal blocks, it blocks the flow of abundance into your life. And what I'm going to talk about is that your images, your past images, what happened to you in your life. And it may not have been in this life, it may have been in a past life, that it's a pattern that you carried forward. And or it is part of your DNA, that your family was had this kind of built into the family DNA. So there are various ways to release that, but today what I'm going to talk about basically is what those kinds of blocks can be, and there are lots of them, right? There's fears, there's resistance, there's all kinds of those kinds of blocks, and and we healers are very, very susceptible to them. So let me first talk about who you are. You are infinitely powerful. You have all of the energy in the universe at your hand. It's all around us, and we have control of it. And I'd like you to think about this, is that there's various numbers flying around, but between 40 and 70 trillion cells in your body. And that means, and each of those 50, let's just say average 50 trillion cells, each of those 50 trillion cells in your body have 9 trillion reactions happening in them every single day. So that is a tremendous amount of energy that you are commanding right off the bat. So you have to realize that not only are you commanding all of that energy, but you have, we humans are one of the few species that also can control their environment, right? So you have this amazing ability to think about the past, think about the future, be aware of your existence. There are all these amazing things that we can do. So being that infinitely powerful, you must also realize that you created your current reality with your habits and your survival skills, right? So survival skills are really important. That's where these images in our mind that blocks the flow of abundance and wealth into your life, that's where they come from, right? And these survival skills, like a survival skill is denial, for example, right? So you deny things that have happened to you that could shock your system. Oh no, that can't possibly be true. Like thinking that you lost something precious. Like one of my friends lost this diamond and gold necklace that was passed down from her family, and she had it on, and she came back from a walk and noticed that it was gone. And so the shock of it, she lost this precious treasure of hers that she couldn't believe that it was gone for a long time, right? And also when somebody that's close to you passes away, the denial helps you get to the point of accepting it. So that is a survival technique that we have. And so when you grow up, wherever it is, even if you have in your mind that your family grew up with, everything was great, you all got along, there was no dysfunction, there are still habits in your family, survival habits that happened that can cause you to block the flow of abundance. So becoming consciously aware of those images and all of the things that can block that flow, as you become aware of them, you can release them, because a lot of them aren't really true, even though you might think they're true, but they're not really true, because as I said, you're infinitely powerful and there's an infinite amount of energy in the universe, or at least compared to our little beings here. And since abundance is energy, creating a life with abundance of energy will help you create a more lucrative, meaning a financially lucrative life. And for a lot of people, money is kind of like a dirty word. So I just want to preface all of this with, money is your energy. You expend your energy, you receive money, right? That's how it works. So the first thing that I'd like you to do is decide what level of income, I've talked about this before, what level of income you'd like to draw towards you, something that is comfortable, and then double it, because there's a use for doubling all of that. And then imagine what that looks like. I know that it's hard for me to imagine it because I'm completely content and happy to be living where I am. I don't need a bigger house. I don't need a bigger view. I don't need a different environment. So for me, I'm super happy being here. But, I would like to take a little more time off and travel. So that could be you, or you could be living in a place that you don't like the city, you don't like the weather, it doesn't suit you. You might want to live in the mountains somewhere, or you might want to live near a lake. Different people have different DNA in them. So you have to decide what it is you want to do and how you want your life to look like. Like, some people say, I want a staff of servants and a cook to help me take care of my life. And although for me that would feel kind of like it's crowding me out, but other people would be really comfortable with it. I have somebody that comes in every other week. I inherited it with my parents' house, but right. So and that every other week, the house is then cleaned from top to bottom. It feels really great. And so there you have it. So this is something that you could journal about, right? Decide what level of income you like and figure that out based on the kind of lifestyle you want, and then imagine what that life would look like. Because if you don't have a need for that income, you somehow a use for it, most of us will not draw it in. There are some people that increasing their income is an end in itself. I'm getting spam calls. Should turn that off here. Let me turn that off. Okay, so it's a need in itself is just to draw that income towards them. And a lot of times it's a hollow pursuit. So they get a big pile of income and then they don't feel worthy and lose it. It's just like winning the lottery, right? So let's not talk about that now. The first thing I want to talk about is one of the biggest blocks is your resistance to wealth, right? And so going back to when you were very young, and let's just stick with this lifetime, right? And not your family members, just you, because it's you with the pictures. And if you go back to when you were very young and remember what your first awareness of lack was. Like when I was really little, just as an example, when I was really little, I didn't realize that there was such a thing as lack because I had both my parents, I was well fed, I had a roof over my head, and I didn't feel like more was necessary until I got to a certain age where I desired something and I wanted my own money to spend. And then I realized that there wasn't enough to go around. And I was maybe 7, maybe 8 years old. I think that's when you hit that first, go past that first chakra, right? So when you have that first image of lack, you start to create an image of yourself, meaning I'm not worth it, I don't deserve it, there's not enough to go around. So you're out of that abundance mindset and you start moving into that scarcity mindset. And that image of lack, that whatever that image was, that is what's stopping the flow of abundance into your life. So these habits, and I want you to stay out of judgment because I have worked really hard at certain things, and sometimes that goal, that end goal, is still out of reach for me, right? Because let's just say one thing is after I hit menopause, I gained weight, and I have not been able to release that. And I have gone through and worked really hard at it, but I just can't keep up that level of work. And I've had a couple of health challenges recently, and it's caused more weight to pile on. Like in probably the last half a year, somewhere between 5 and 10 pounds. And the thought of eating less, because part of it is I get shaky and I feel like I have low sugar, even though I went and had my sugar tested and it's fine, right? So there's something else going on. And when a body gets weak, the desire to eat gets very strong. So that's something that I have not accomplished, that goal of reaching the weight that I would feel comfortable at, right? So there are some things that you can work really hard at and not succeed. And there's always something in the way. And that's the same thing. So you are exactly, so with my personal health struggle and wherever you are with your abundance, right? You are exactly where you're supposed to be, not further. You didn't make mistakes. You were collecting data. And being in judgment or understanding, like you understand why you are how you are, right? It keeps you where you are now. I'm just this way. And the thought of it being different is really hard to overcome. So the thing to do is to now start writing down everything that all those old memories that are keeping you where you are at. And basically, where did you have those first memories of lack? And just start writing about it. And that's where you need to start looking. I'm just saying, if you want to clear that up. I did this exercise often, right? And so I'll give you some examples of what some of my lacks were. When I was little, all of my friends were getting 25 cents or 50 cents. Let me remind you, this was the early 60s, right? So I was getting 5 cents per week for my allowance. And my dad would like mete it out to me like it was really difficult for him to give me money. And then what he would say is, if you put it in the bank, I'll double it. So I would hand it to him and ask him to put it in the bank, and he would double it. So that's how I grew a big savings, but I never spent money on myself, right? So he did one thing that was good. He showed me a way to double my money. But on the other hand, all of my friends were getting 25 cents, 50 cents. Some were even getting $1 a week. And I would go, they'd say, oh, let's go shopping. And I'm going like, why? I don't have any money. Oh, just come with me. I want you to come with me. So I'd go with them, and they would be able to buy all these things, jewelry and, candy and snacks. And I'm going, okay, I don't have the money to do that. So those are some of my first memories. And then if we were in the store and I'd ask my mom, can I have this? And she would say, oh, we can't afford that. That's not on the shopping list, meaning the grocery store, right? Can we have this for dessert some night? No, you can't have it. No, we can't afford it. It's not on the shopping list. And I took it personally, meaning I'm not worth it, right? So my accepting that that's how things were, and then my little young brain not understanding what she was actually saying, because she was on a very limited budget, because my dad did not make very much money, but they made a great home for 4 children, right? I'm the oldest of 4. So having those memories and the way your young mind processes them is what holds you back. So the first place is you may be resistant to gaining wealth because it's too hard, your family couldn't afford it, and how you interpreted that. In other words, you think that maybe that's the way they loved you, and you didn't need more because you were happy the way you were. And that may be, right? But a lot of us have desire to have more, especially in this day and age when things have gotten so expensive, right? So that's the steps. The steps is realizing that you are infinitely powerful, number 1, realizing that your past memories and your past experiences have created the blocks to internal flow. And third is that the resistance to gaining wealth are some of those memories, and being able to sit and think about what your first memories of lack were and writing them down will help you become aware of what those are, not understanding, not thinking that they were mistakes, but becoming aware of what they are so you can let them go without judgment. Okay, thank you so much for listening. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much for taking valuable time out of your day to listen in. If you found this message helpful, please help spread the word by giving the broadcast a thumbs up or a 5-star rating. Share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe to my channel with your notifications on. For further training on healing and growing your healing business using my 3-step system, go to www.highpaidhealers.com. And I'll see you in the next video.